What's going on, y'all? 805 Just here, just 805, forever representing and showing love not only to my birthplace, but my favorite place in the entire world. That's Ventura County. Obviously, born in Ventura, California, lived there, lived in Oxnard, California, the Ox, the OX. You know what I'm saying? I got to give a shout out to everybody in the 805, all my 805ers, and even everybody just along the strip of the Central Coast, even around the way to Santa Barbara, and just everybody on the Central Coast. Real quick, let's get into it. I watched the Jamie Foxx comedy special. I don't know if I should call it a comedy special, but I watched it on Netflix. It's called Jamie Foxx. What Had Happened Was. This features Jamie Foxx. This features his his oldest daughter. I believe her name is Corinne, if I'm not mistaken. Corinne Foxx. And then his youngest daughter, who's a musician. I don't remember her name. What's her name? No. Yeah, I don't remember her name, but his youngest daughter. So both of his daughters feature in this special. I don't really know what you call it, because I will say, in all honesty, I wouldn't consider it a comedy special. I really wouldn't. I would consider it maybe like a one man show. I would consider it almost like he, gave a presentation or a speech. Let's just get right into it. This is my rant. This is my review. I don't know if y'all have watched it yet, but if y'all do, I think some of you may agree with me. So this came out just a few days ago. I think it was on the 10th, if I'm not mistaken. And I had a feeling that a lot of the content in this was going to be centered around the stroke that Jamie Foxx had in this special, in this presentation. He talks about how I believe he had a brain bleed. He had some bleeding in his brain. I think that's how it started, and it basically felt like a headache. And the bleeding in his brain led to having a stroke. So from the very beginning, and this is, I'm not hating on this because I understand. I feel the same way. Jamie Foxx, very emotional right off the bat, coming on stage, in tears, thanking the crowd, thanking those in attendance. This was shot in Atlanta, Georgia, the ATL. So very emotional throughout. And I understand that he wanted to share his story, wanted to share his experience, what he's been through in the last few months. I think this happened back in May, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a few months now, and it seems like he's made a full recovery. So he talks about that, and then he throws some jokes in there in between, tells some funny stories. Here's my issue, and I'll be short and sweet and to the point. Too much back and forth. Too much back and forth. As someone who really enjoys stand-up comedy, as someone who has enjoyed some moments and highlights in Jamie Foxx's career, I really enjoyed the Jamie Foxx show. Like most people, I thought he did an excellent job in the movie Ray, portraying Ray Charles. I thought he did a great job in the Ali movie with Will Smith. He's had some pretty monumental roles in movies, but he hasn't done stand-up comedy in years. We see him on social media. He still does the impressions. He can do voices. Still very talented. Could sing, all that, but too much back and forth in this special for me. What do I mean by that? Meaning, he'd tell a story. What I'm saying? He'd tell what happened with the the stroke and whatnot, and then he jump into kind of like a random joke, if that makes sense, kind of like a joke that really wasn't related to his experience. So like he would say, "Oh yeah, I had a stroke, da da da," and then jump into, and Cat Williams started the year off, da da, and it's like, to me, he didn't really connect, the topics well, in my opinion. Now, in my thought, and the way I think about it, I think it's him being rusty because he doesn't do stand-up comedy consistently anymore, and he hasn't done it for many years now. So I think maybe that is what's showing when you see him tell a story and then jump into a joke. Like, he would tell a story about his stroke and the issues he's had, and physical therapy, and then he'd say something about Diddy, like, oh, Diddy and baby oil, and it's like, what does that have to do with your stroke? Like, what does that have to do with your recovery process? So I don't know. For me, That was the main issue. Out of, like, say if I had to judge it out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it maybe three, maybe three, and that's being generous. I really, in my heart, would rather give it a 2 out of 5 because it was just a lot. It was kind of all over the place. At the very end, he sang a song. He had the audience join in and sing the song with him and close it out, and he just basically showed off his talent, because he is talented. And then at the end, the part that I really thought was just kind of whack and kind of like, all right, that's not necessary, we didn't need it. He basically goes down the resume of all the movies and shows and things that he's been in, and he has a slideshow, literally like a slideshow, like a PowerPoint on the screen behind him, and he's basically saying, I did this and I did this, and y'all love me because I was in this, and I'm like, listen, I'm being totally honest here. This is exactly how it went. If you have Netflix, if you have not watched it, feel free to check it out. But I think y'all will agree with me. One, it was kind of all over the place. He told his story with the stroke and the recovery and, his family being there and all that. But then he would jump into jokes that were, jokes about, things going on now in today's time. And they didn't really hit like that. They weren't as funny as I think he thought they would be. And I get it. He had a stroke and, he's still, I'm sure, recovering, but he would have been better off just telling the story, I think, instead of trying to, add in relevant jokes and jokes about things that are happening today in pop culture in the world, because it just made things seem a little random and a little, just a little not on time. They weren't well connected. So y'all check it out. That's my review. That's my rant or whatnot. I'm glad that it seems like he's fully recovered or is recovering well from the stroke, and he seems to be healthy or healthier. However, I think this just wasn't the right move. This wasn't the right way to go about telling the story and showing off his other talents as far as stand-up comedy and music. So y'all check it out. As always, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being subscribed to the channel. And peace.